channeling session. Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk to Spirit how I talk to Spirit when I'm alone. So it's not going to be your typical reading. And I've been communicating with this darker spirit. He's very intelligent, but he also is kind of manipulative with his intelligence. And I want to go through that just to archive it for myself and possibly for all of you. If you get scared of this kind of thing, now is a good time to leave, because this is going to be deeper probably than what you're used to on my channel. It's going to be talking like a conversation back and forth. And I'm going to also tell you some of the previous conversations that I've had with him. I've never been good with applying names to entities. So I'm sure he has a name, but sometimes I feel like he doesn't. He's just this shadow man. And for some reason, God is letting him out of captivity because he wants a chance at redemption. And he thinks he can use his powers for good, even though most of his existence he's been using his intelligence for evil and to play tricks on people. So when I saw him originally, he was in this cage, way off in the abyss, beyond the furthest stretches of existence, in this void, dark abyss, in a cage, trapped forever, I guess. I don't know how long he's been in there, but it's been a very long time. And I saw that somebody, working in the astrals, had caged him there. And they did a good thing doing that. Based off the conversations I've had with him, he was like an underworld overlord harvesting souls. So he was able to trick people with love. And I'm telling you, he wants to get out of being in hell, because he's literally been in hell for eons. He has never really had a chance to be anything else. So he wants to prove himself. That's why we're having this conversation. And God is always guiding every move and every step we take. So God is sending this entity to me, and he wants me to help him decide if he is worth forgiving. So God actually kind of let him out of his cage a little. And I'm going to tell you the conversation I had with him. So ring the bell to raise the frequency. I don't want this to be scary, and my spirit guides wouldn't allow it anyways. But I tried to do 3 readings, and nothing was aligning with my, I just had to talk about this. You may know his name. Comment if you know his name. The journey is just beginning, okay? The Lovers is exactly what we talked about. So God asked me to judge whether this being actually wanted to be good and change his ways, or whether he was just sweet talking God, sweet talking me, trying to get something out of it. And God told me, you want to know the interesting thing about your dark side versus some of these evil entities' dark sides? God told me this last night. He said, when you have a healthy dark side like you do, you feel bad when you cause harm, even on accident, in any way. You don't want to cause any pain. And you really think about how you treat people, and you don't want to trick anyone. You don't want to deceive anyone. And even if you play the villain or sometimes you mess up, it's not really your intention to be the bad guy. It's just a lesson in your eyes. But with these underworld overlords and beings who are caged and stuff and trapped forever and can't seem to get a chance to live again or go to heaven or something, they can pretend like they feel bad, you know? God says they can pretend like they care and like they're really going to turn it around and come back to the good side and whatever. They like promise God they're going to straighten up, but really they'll say absolutely anything just to get their power back, to get some power back. They feel so weak when like God traps them and cages them for eternity, and they're like begging for mercy. And God wants to know if they're honest, that they're really gonna be benevolent, or are they just gonna trick the masses and keep trying to harvest people's energy? Because if we release like a beast like this onto the collective, it's going to be hell for everyone. I shouldn't say that. Like, it's going to be hell for people who aren't protected by God. People, like it could be good or bad, God says. He says if he unleashes this back into the collective, the people who created him, this like master manipulator energy, puppet master energy. And it seems nameless because it's like the puppet master is always the nameless one, right? The one who like never gets seen but makes all the rules of this freaking demonic game they're playing. So of course he doesn't want to tell me his real name. He wants to stay mysterious. He wants to act like he has some kind of authority. So God's people will not be harmed, but the people who align to this energy, who created it, they will have to face like massive shadow work and their own demons and stuff. Because we've learned at this point that everything you see in the quantum mind and the astral reflects something going on in the physical. So this being that you found out there, if we released it, it would start attacking the source that created it, which is some of these very high elite puppet masters. And it would be hell for them. And God almost laughs about it because now that we know that it's their shadow, it'll force them to face who they are if it is unleashed. It'll force them to face some serious darkness inside that they can't hide from anymore. It'll force their illusions to fall, especially if we can get this entity to authentically be on our side without any tricks. So God is saying, it's funny actually, because either way, it's time for a change in their little circle, their little collective. And this is not hitting the good souls. This is totally specifically focused on some like very select few of people. And if you could see what I see, I just see this entity being on our side and forcing them to do shadow work and, heal some shit and stop being evil as fuck. So something about this being released was summoned to happen. It's as if they're ready. So some of these puppet masters are finally ready. They actually start to feel bad for what they've done, authentically feel bad. See, this is all linking up if you only understood the fact that this entity is coming to me, seeking redemption, seeking God, means that these puppet masters at the top are seeking God. And that's good news. Even if they deserve oftentimes to face judgment, it's still good that in the long run, they're trying to reunite with the innocence, the soul, whatever. I think they're tired of feeling like empty vessels, feeling like damned to repeat cycles forever, underworld cycles. All right, I had to say all of that to get into the nitty-gritty of it all. So the story that this being was telling me in a channeling session last night is what God wants me to talk about. And this being is present right now in the energy, and he's not attacking me. He's not doing anything. He's just observing, listening, trying to learn the ways of benevolence, honestly. So far, so good. But this entity reflects what they do, and it's very real. So this entity is more so an extension of these humans and what they've done. But by looking at the astral, the mental reflection of these physical people, we can learn more about how they operate and why it is that we're at this impasse right now. So the question he was asking of us in this session, guys, is can you tell truth from lies? Can you tell when somebody is playing nice just to get something from you? Or are you still a sucker and easily manipulated by love? Because love, although it is divine, don't let it control you, because sometimes this entity says people have sold their souls to him for just about anything you could think of. It's not always like fame and fortune, especially back in ancient times. People would sell their souls for a wife, a husband, all the things, anything. And he told me last night, okay, I'm avoiding telling you this story because I feel like it's going to shock people. But I also want to tell you because I want you to know this is not my shadow at all. Something God asked me to heal or at least consult. And he told me he had gained thousands of souls throughout his existence. And it was really actually quite easy for him. He would put people in dangerous situations, like places where they felt completely under attack, isolated. He would inflict and cause just chaos in people's lives. And then he would come in and try to save them from the same chaos that he would inflict upon them. But they wouldn't know that it was him who cursed them. And he would come in and try to play like savior and be like, okay, I'm the only one who can get you out of this curse. And he would release them from the curse that he created, but they never knew that it was his creation. And he would make them fall in love with him by doing this, by ruining a person's life and then basically making them pay him to fix it, what he broke it in the first place. And he would make them pay with energy or soul or whatever. And they always thought he was a benevolent being, a loving being, but he was not. He was using as a way to harvest. And so that's why God asked me if I could tell the difference between someone who genuinely cares about how they treat people and how they use that love and how they work that love, or people who are using it like this guy. And you would never know this, right? Unless you talk to God and go into the vision and, yada, yada, yada. And he told me that this was his go-to move, right? If we're talking about beating one of the underworld overlord bosses, his go-to move, that was it. Destroy your life, repair it, and then make you pay for it. And the thing is he would pick out certain people that he liked to do this to, right? So he had his eye on souls, souls that he thought were very unique, not like everyone else. Those were the ones he always wanted the most. And, something he wants to say also, like Spirit and God is telling me that this energy has been pushing itself on a lot of people in the world. Okay? So don't be blaming the people for this evil energy. It's puppet master shit. Of course they're trying to control the masses in every possible way. They want there to be no way out, okay? So this kind of thing could work through people if they're not strong, or if they really just work for the puppet masters. Because like I said, those who are on God's team right now, the real God, are protected. But those who are like even secretly working for the shadow forces are not. And they can show their hand, they can show where their allegiance is oftentimes by the evil spirits that work through them. And I haven't judged this spirit fully yet, so I'm not sure if I think he's evil or good. And we're going to figure it out by the end of this, though. But I do see him working through other people than just, he's not just attacking the souls that he likes, but he'll use other people to target them, to make them feel weaker and weaker until they break and they agree to his deal. It's like some kind of deal that he likes to make with people. It's almost reminding me of like Rumpelstiltskin, like how the deal always had some kind of catch that you never knew about, kind of thing. And he would pick souls that he thought were super special, and he would try to get those ones. Like, he didn't want just anyone. He wanted the special, the rare ones, like us. Yeah, it's a very twisted spirit, and I talked to it for quite a while last night. It talked to me, and it asked me, like, do you think I should release all of these souls that I have taken throughout my existence? And I was like, why are you asking me that, number one? But I thought about it for a second. I'm like, what would be wrong with releasing the souls? Of course you should release the souls. Yes. And then he said, well, what if I just release all these souls and they never learn their lesson and they just do it again? What if they end up selling it to an even more evil entity than me? He's like, maybe I'm protecting their souls, not just harvesting them. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever looked from that angle, he says. Right now he's saying that. But I told him, of course you should release all these souls. It's not your job to just design or decide their fate. And like I said, he got himself locked up for a long time in the abyss or something, where no one could find him on accident doing this little dancing game. And I'm telling you that your soul does matter, and it can be taken. If someone wants it bad enough, they take all the steps, do the rituals, write it in blood, whatever. You better believe that something is going to take their innocence and replace it with something wicked. You don't have to call it a soul, but the supernatural is no joke. And don't get me wrong, he would take a soul if someone wanted to make a deal, but he did have a thing for the special souls. And like I was trying to say earlier, if he wanted you and he couldn't get you, he would use other people to get to you, to push you to the point where he could break you and then claim you. And he was like he's collecting rare artifacts or something. So he's under judgment. And the question God keeps asking me right now is, why do you think I would allow these souls to be taken in the first place? That's something we have to talk about. And why would he allow such a evil creature to ever exist to begin with? Now, this isn't stuff I have a immediate answer for. We might have to look a little deeper into the energy. God was talking about all these souls being released, and he was claiming them all. He was saying not all of them are his to claim. He can't really claim a person's soul until they start claiming God, and they want that path. And although free will is a gift, if people use their free will to give away the greatest gift there is, their innocence, their soul, well, I guess there's nothing God can do. He's not going to take free will and force you to choose a better path. But somehow, through this being ascending that drew them all in, it like affects the whole network of every soul connected to him. So his ascension kind of rippled off of all these souls finding a new state of awareness of themselves. So God is saying, like, imagine all these souls in a big soul farm. I know it's an awful thing to imagine, but it's like a light bulb goes off and they all start to wake up one by one, and all the light bulbs are going off as if like the soul is being called back home to heaven, or back into a reincarnation. We know that the lesson is always personal for everyone. Some people need lifetimes upon lifetimes to learn. But all these souls start to become aware of their own abysmal fate. And that awareness sparked something of God in them, where God was able to bring them home. It was like, it's really weird. I see them all kind of being connected to each other in this soul farm, being rolled over by this shadow man I told you about. And it's like they all started to be aware that they chose, they became aware all by themselves that they had sealed their own fate, and the only way out was to reconnect to the divine spirit, something that feels good. They hadn't felt numb, nothing for so long, and something like God actually worked its way into that soul farm and inspired these souls to go back to where they belong. And when all these souls started sparking up and waking up, because they had been like dormant sleepers for a long time, it awakened the overlord that was watching over it, and he started to ascend a little bit too. So it seems like they're all a little entangled together. This could even be a time in history, I can't pinpoint it exactly, where kind of mass rituals were done that tied people together in the afterlife. So God said he basically like worked his way in and created a leak into this darkness and started filling it up with light and inspiration. And it came as inspiration for something better, remembering the good. And like deciding that they were done being numb. But they didn't even know they were numb until they became aware of it, because God like let the light in. This is everything I'm seeing in my vision, and it's happening in real time. All of this is a part of things on earth. I don't know how, but it is. Even just wanting to align with goodness aligns you with God. Even if you don't believe in God, God is goodness. So that's all it takes sometimes. And I guess God asks us to believe that there's goodness in this entity as well. I mean, it really looks like one massive bubble, dark bubble, with an entity like a big shadow man inside it, like a beast of a shadow man. And it connects with this like stream of consciousness to the Soul Farm Collective. And maybe this is the puppet master and everyone he's ever puppeteered somehow having ties, like soul ties to each other. There's like soul ties there that God can't always interfere with as well. Well, he could, but he won't. Yeah, somebody did something to create this. It's all happening in like a moment in time. Like there's stragglers throughout like eons or however long this thing has existed, but there's some kind of big massive event. Like some kind of a massive event where this was like created. Where they literally like did some kind of mass ritual to create this darkness. But it's been sleeping. Like it feels really old. Like it's been sleeping for a long time. This entity that I'm seeing feels like it's been around forever. I mean, it's definitely not older than the creator source that I work with, but it's old. It's old, ancient, and patient, which is almost terrifying because it's intelligent, patient, manipulative. It'll take its sweet time. But it's starting to shift. It fights with itself. It fights with the side of itself that is feeling love again and compassion, and it's feeling that. And it's fighting with itself because it's very hard to maintain control over massive amounts of people if you allow yourself to care for these people. And he's starting to care for them as if he too is intelligent enough to see the soul connection and the way that he could either continue to destroy or he could possibly heal thousands of souls with just a shift. He could use all of that power for good. And it's a constant tug of war within him because he just feels that he was born of darkness. That is his purpose. He doesn't feel his purpose is to be this great healer. Yet it's calling to him as if God told him, it is your purpose to be this great healer. And he's like, I was straight born of primordial chaos. So I don't think so. But for some reason, God sees something in him. See, God really understands. Even the fact that this awareness is arising within him is God's handiwork. He already knew that he would choose to help them. He already knows. Even if this entity right now says that's not who I am, God already knows that he will choose that. But he's going to let him choose it of his own accord. So it gets very interesting because people seal their own fate. And yet somehow it's also part of the design. God understands something we don't understand about heaven and hell and all this stuff. So I'm going to try to get this all in here. Okay. Last night, this entity even told me the real reason he does what he does is because he does want to experience this eternal love. And he's sick of being in these underworlds and traps and stuff. He said that he has a perfect lover who is really like heaven itself. That's what he told me. And he told me I am hell. Not me, him. Oh gosh. He told me that he is hell and that his counterpart is heaven. Heaven itself. So his like embodiment is like hell itself. And he's in love with like heaven and her essence. and he wants to be with her. He doesn't know if she loves him or it's something like that, but they're really like a counterpart between heaven and hell that he spoke of. He was even saying it's not Adam and Eve. It's the battle between heaven and hell inside of ourselves. At least that's what it is for him. And he showed me like this underworld. It's like if you were to travel through layers of the earth and like you go through many, many layers down, like down an escalator through the earth layers into the core. And it's not fire. It's like this old, dark, rundown castle and kingdom that was once thriving, but somehow it's in ruins. And there's beings in hell who rule over these wicked people, and there is such thing as an underworld. It's not like, I'm not even into the Bible like that, but it's not like that. Not from my experience. It's actually organized, very specific to each person, and there are beings down there who are hell itself. Like they are the energetic signature, the embodiment of some of these hell realms. They never leave. Just like he said, I was born of this. It's like I am hell itself. They are not always like evil in the same way humans are, although there is a mirror there. But the ones that are overlording over some of these energies, they're just very like cold and dead inside because they're born. It's their purpose to be of a animalistic nature. It's like an animalistic nature, but it's so sick of it. Like he was like, I've been in this freaking castle under here, trying to get out, trying to have a better job. It's literally like he wants a better job in the afterlife. And he's like, it never changes. I just have to like watch over all these evil people and enforce judgment upon them. And he's like, I'm tired of working in the underworld. It's like it's a job for them. He's like, I want a new job and I will prove myself. That's when he asked me, should I release every soul I ever harvested? And some of these underworld beings are really mad at God because they have to live in this, entropy and darkness and chaos while everyone else is living in bliss, and they don't understand why they have to serve and do what they're told. Why can't they go play in heaven and have all the nectars of and the rewards of the gods and drink from the cup of the gods? He's like, can I drink from the cup of the gods too? Why do I get left out of the equation? He's like, you're going to ascend without me and leave me behind. That's what I think you're going to do. He's saying that to me. But God is trying to show me something more about this, more details, more intricacies. But yes, it's like everything is designed. And to get into heaven, it's genuinely about having, like, when you have your free will, using it wisely, using all of your abilities very wisely. Because everyone was given, like, extra sensory abilities in certain ways that other people do not have. Like, everyone has something special if you're, like, talking to God. And at the end of it all, when all is said and done, all is one. So even if these are children of the fallen ways, if we get to a high enough level of ascension, God claims them all. He just says they've gotten lost, so. But, what God told me, let's ring the bell to lighten the energy up. He told me when I make choices and I exercise my willpower. I do it from an honestly trying to help people or not hurt anyone. Whereas some people are doing it to fake help people and try to hurt people and the list goes on and on. So he told me, yeah, you've messed up a little bit in your life. Nothing like most other people. You're like damn near a freaking saint. But you have your own dark natures to honor too. But he told me just the fact that you move the way you move, trying your best to be yourself while still being good to others. I mean, straight golden ticket to heaven. He says you got to watch out for these people who play with the good souls and they mess with them for nefarious reasons. But why do they exist, right? So that's the big question mark in my head that Spirit's sending. Can you answer the question of the grand design? I mean, wow. Is it not important to let the story reveal itself? Why are people in such a rush to jump to the end? God says. He said, the shadow man, whatever his name may be, he did it all because he was trying to fill a void where heaven used to be, or he felt a connection to heaven, like it was this big, huge void that he could never fill. And it was almost like he forgot home. In a sense, we all came from the source, heaven, energy. Even if all things were built through our belief, through every move we've made using our free will, we built infinite realities on earth, in the mental plane, spiritual planes, things like that. Over eons, I mean, all of existence, we've built these things. But if you rip it down to its rawest form, everything comes from the source. So there was a time when beings like this knew heaven very closely. Time before maybe this current source expansion. With every source expansion, every time the whole of existence goes through a new expansion, we go through a new collective lesson. And he seems to have forgotten the last expansion before this one, where he did know heaven very well. And it's like a lingering memory to him that he can't quite place. And that's why he did all of that harvesting, was to try to fill a void of love. Really, something he was always trying to get back. And so, thank God is doing a massive purge in the underworld. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing tons of souls rising from deep within the earth, going into like the ethers and into this like mist of this white mist beyond the ethers. Okay, that's really beautiful. If I could put a camera in my head for you guys, maybe someday I'll make all my visions into real movies. But either way, I know y'all are seers here and psychics, so you're welcome to tap in. This energy is really beautiful. Hey, basically, we just cleared out a soul farm in the astral, guys. Good job. And I know I had backup because that was way too effortless to be doing it alone. And I see it all like pixelating and disintegrating the whole entire scene that I've been looking at this whole time. It's quite amazing. It's real work. So really, he was trying to find his long lost lover and trying to remember what he had forgotten. And that's why he was trying to force people to love him. You know, it's like some things only God understands about these underworld cycles, guys. You don't have to feel bad. God has enough love to fill all the feelings for you that you don't want to feel, even get you through it. But you should allow yourself to release any fears. This is a safe space. Nothing bad's going to happen. God is pouring love into this creature, right? The shadow man. And I think that he just was wanting to reunite with a long lost love. And what he was doing, trying to get that energy back that he had lost, he lost his freaking marbles for a long time. And he couldn't get out of hell. He even was telling me in detail last night how much he wants to get out of there. I think I said this already, but like, he's like, I can't stay here another day. I will do anything. And so I think the final judgment is on God's behalf, not mine, because it's God making the judgment that this soul farm was healed, that this being is given another chance. I weighed and measured it as I was asked to, and based on what I just saw, all is going according to plan. He means it. He really wants to have authentic benevolence. He's like, don't make me look weak, okay? Don't make me look like a pushover in front of my friends. It's like I have a megaphone to the underworld right now, and they're all listening. And they're all like, oh shit, God's in hell talking to us about a chance to actually be benevolent without trying to take souls anymore. Maybe we should take this call. Anyone in that energy, you might want to take that call from God. Just saying, that's probably the most important phone call you ever got. Might even come with claiming parts of your soul that have gotten lost. And you can care. It's okay to care. Doesn't make you weak. It makes you divine. Another thing people have to realize is that God provides, so there's never a reason to sacrifice your eternity for money or material or love or anything. God will give you all those things in their most organic form without any manipulation. You just have to know that it's on God's time. People really don't understand that they need to have a deep relationship with the Creator. It's not just a one and done, like, oh, I said I love Jesus and I prayed one time, or every once in a while, like every 10 years I say a prayer. No, you got to have a relationship. Even if God gives you something you need, like gives you some money or whatever you need, and then suddenly it starts drying up and you're like, God doesn't provide. That wasn't true. You have to keep kind of praying, or at least communicating with Spirit and showing appreciation for God, because God is not like a slave and a servant, and neither are we. So mutual appreciation helps the abundance between all things grow favorably for all things. You know, if we favor and give God love and appreciation, it showers all things with an enriched experience of spirit. It enriches your experience. It'll be more vibrant. It'll be like everything's glowing. Everything is coming alive for you in this world. And this world won't feel like it's a bad place. You know, I actually love this planet, and I know it's organic and it's beautiful. It's just the people that are often very wicked that I don't necessarily like. But I know I came here for a reason, right? You know, I feel very out of place here. I feel like I'm still on the page with natural creation while everything else is moving into AI and following like the system, puppet masters and stuff, and becoming agents and becoming handlers. And selling their soul is becoming like normal. And I feel like I'm the only one over here, like, what the heck happened? When did everyone go to the dark side? Like, I must have missed the memo, or God protected me from it, but I'm not going. And I feel alone in that sometimes. But you know, I guess that just comes with the work that I do. Everybody has their struggles, just like they have their gifts. And sometimes those struggles are gifts too. It's gifts from God. You never know. Maybe you should appreciate the struggle and the reward. Because, like, someone else, you know, no matter who you are or what life you live, or every single person has problems. So ever trying to, like, be somebody else or think it would be easier to be somebody else, it never really is. These people at the top have to fight with being an empty shell. Even if they have money, they can't enjoy it. If they got it in dirty ways, it's not worth it, you know? That soul is your innocence, your benevolence, your ability to feel life fill you up. The light, the love, the life of God, a godly life, okay? And that's who I really am. I cannot change. I've realized anytime I've tried to be something other than like a freaking saint, I'm doing that to please other people who have all seemed to fall into a way that I do not align with in any way. So if I stop doing that, changing for them, I don't have to keep on lowering myself, because, you know, I'm kind of weird like that. Like I said, I don't know why I'm even on this planet. I don't match this planet, but I must be here to be the voice of something you've never heard before, because something of the sun has to move through me, because, like, I'm one of the last originals left. So I'm going to continue to elevate and be a saint, because that's who I like to be. And I've always kind of been that way. I think that I came straight from source. So, all right. Shall we continue this reading? What are you guys thinking? Let me know if you feel like that spirit was trustworthy or not. All right, so let's think ahead. Now that that energy has been released, and I felt that release, I'm sure you did too. Everything's really soft and fluffy right now. We're up in that misty, fluffy, beautiful, soft, loving energy. And we're going to see, because of the release that happened, these puppet masters fighting with their shadows and each other. And through their fight with each other, they will heal. But the fight is being redirected away from the common people and putting all this weight on us back to them, having to face themselves and each other and their inner circle. So it's not our problem, God says. They've made it like the whole world have to cater to a select few, and they need to deal with that with themselves. And God will deal with them, don't you worry. And so will other things. Justice. I don't know, it's like God's dealing with them by trying to get them to see the error of their ways. I don't know why he's doing that, but he is. And I just have a vision of these puppet masters making everything in the world revolve around them, when it's literally like, no, dude, like, you're just like everybody else. Let every person be their own freaking main character, okay? And these guys are like thinking they're the main characters in the shadows, but they don't even know. All right, guys, you're the real stars at the end of the story, right? The main character has to survive till the end, right? And that's all of us. So let's speak it like we mean it, like we know it, right? So the grid is awakening on many levels when we do this kind of energy work. The network is listening to the energy work, not just on this one mission, but on every mission. Grace is being given on this mission. And I think it's led to an abundant place, a healing place. So let's keep speaking it into existence, knowing it is done. And it has a reason that it happens in a certain timing. Things are happening in certain timings right now. It's God's timing, God's strategy playing, and it's amping up. So if you're on God's team, do not be discouraged, okay? The lower forces are being put through transformations and they're fighting it. But the fight that they throw at the innocent is going to be inverted back into themselves, where they'll have to either fight or unite with their own innocence. And this will happen, even if you don't see it, but I feel like you will see it. All right, take care, everyone. I'll talk to you in another video. I hope this session has been, interesting for you to see what it's like to really kind of communicate with God and spirit and stuff how I do. I feel like there's a lot more to be said, but I am kind of like drained on this energy for now. When you put a lot of energy work into reading an archive, it can be exhausting, especially one like as intense as this one. But, I'm not here to like do really dangerous work. I try to keep it light, but I am capable of discerning these kinds of things and healing them. So every once in a while, I will. All right, send you with nothing but good energy and blessings. And let's just see what happens. The grid is responding, listening at every moment. And then they're weaving this master universal thing between God and all life. It's really beautiful and it's getting brighter. Take care.